So Tottenham Hotspur are through to the next round of the League Cup. A 3-0 win over League One outfit Doncaster Rovers sets up a tie at St James's Park with Newcastle United in the next round. So let's get straight to Tottenham Hotspur 3, Doncaster nil. So going into this game, obviously it's Tottenham's first game in any sort of domestic cup competition under Thomas Frank. Rotation was expected. Rotation is what we got. Seven changes, the full lineup. The only people to keep their place in the team, I think, was Paulinho, Simmons, Spence, and Porro. Um, well, actually, I think Spence came in for a doggy, so eight changes in total. Um, Full lineup was, if I've just got it here in front of me, Kinski in goal, Porro, Paulinho at centre back, Kevin Danso, Jed Spence, Archie Gray, Bentancur, Simmons in midfield, and then Johnson, Tell, and Odegaard up front. Obviously, rotation was expected. Bit interesting that Paulinho was at centre back. So I did notice in the Brighton game when we were chasing that equaliser, quite often in build up, Romero would sort of step into midfield and you'd see Paulinho drop back. And I don't think that's a bad resolution to Tottenham's sort of build up issues in midfield. Um, but going into the game, we spoke about Paulinho at centre back, Paulinho with a second goal in a Tottenham top. I'm a bit hesitant to call it an overhead kick because I don't quite think it falls into that category. So we'll call it an acrobatic effort, which you know, not the most aesthetically pleasing of overhead kicks, but Paulinho had a really good game. Even at centre half, he really he really was just sort of everywhere really, and really dominant, winning the ball back, getting us started again, which is why he's in the team, whether that's at centre back or DM. That's what he provides. Um, and then the second goal coming from Wilson Odegaard, who had a couple bright moments on that left hand side, and I feel like I've been saying it for months now, but that left wing spot is really open for whoever wants it, whether it be Simmons, Johnson, Odegaard, Hotel, or even Kolo Muani. That left wing spot, I think that's the one spot in the team where there is an opening there. And Odegaard, obviously largely influential for the second goal, in which was an own goal, lovely little drilled ball across the box. And when it's in that sort of 6 yard area and hit at that sort of speed with that power, um, there's every chance that it can go in, essentially, especially with where the goalkeeper was positioned. With Odegaard and Tell, Odegaard, I didn't think he was amazing, but I thought he was quite good. You could definitely see what he's capable of when he's confident, and obviously playing against a League One team that will give you confidence. Being at home, being the favourites, that will give you confidence. And I think that's the thing with Odegaard. He's definitely got the ability to take on more players to become a bit more of a handful. But I think in the Premier League, we've not really seen too much of it. We've seen glimpses in Europe. Um, and obviously, hopefully, he stays fit longer than he did last year because I think there's a good player there. And I think, that's why the League Cup's important because games like this, I think, can build confidence. And, if he can get into the groove of having a few good games, he could really, really nail down that left wing position. Another player who could even be put in that left wing equation is Matisse Tell. He didn't have as good a game. Certainly wasn't short of opportunities. He really, really looks devoid of confidence at the minute. It did almost feel like once we went 2-0 up, it was almost like the players were trying to like shoehorn a goal for him. And that goal didn't come. He's a player which, I think because he's come from Bayern Munich, because he's got a good reputation with the under 21s, by all means, a good reputation in terms of the sort of players to come off the Ren production line. It's the same production line which is, produced the likes of Girassi, Ousmane Dembele, Rafinha, Desiree Doué, plenty of talent to come from there. And I don't doubt that he's definitely got that ability, but at the minute, the confidence just isn't there. And even against a League One team, it doesn't seem to be there. And it's a long old season. What I will say for Tell is I think he'll get opportunities over the course of the season. Obviously, he's not in the Champions League squad, so there is that. So those sorts of games where it's just after a Champions League game, and the players have travelled, they're probably a bit tired, a bit lethargic. That's when he's going to come into the team, and I think it's up to him really to take that opportunity when it comes. It's obviously easier said than done when you're sitting on the other side of the fence. But a 19-year-old who's come over to another country, um, and really he's really trying, which is admirable considering the circumstances he's in and what he's been through going into a new season as a permanent player in terms of some of the racial abuse that he's got, which is not justified ever, any form of it. I don't know why people would go out of their way to abuse someone, let alone racially abuse them. I just find it ridiculous. And obviously, that's probably people who don't go to the ground a lot. Probably people who've never set foot in any form of a social club or a stadium or big gatherings where if you say something, you get called out for it. But yeah, with Teo, I really, really wonder what's going to happen for him, whether maybe he's going to get a loan in the summer. The fact he's signed permanently this summer makes me doubt that we would loan him out in January. Because I think Odebear's above him for that left wing spot. I think Johnson's above him for that left wing slot. And I think the likes of Kolo Muani, Solanke, and Richarlison, if all are fit, I think he's probably fourth on that list of who you choose as your starting striker. One player who really, really did shine, who I thought is his best game I've seen for Tottenham yet, was Archie Gray. Um, Really, really dominant performance, and again, it's against League One opposition, so that's not to say that this form will translate to the higher competitions that we play in, but I really thought we had a good game, looked really strong, good ball carrying, good sort of positional awareness. Quite often we see him out of that midfield three. Well, I say three because Simmons probably, playing a bit more advanced of the three. But whenever Gray got forward, I did notice quite a lot that when he get into an area where he knows he's sort of, I wouldn't say going down a cul-de-sac, but his options are limited. He's very quick to get his body across, hold the ball up, and then maybe pop it off to someone else. And there's quite a few nice examples of that, not only in the first half, but also in the second. Nearly got a goal. Quite a smart little strike, really, which could have easily caught the keeper out, but the keeper was alert to it. Um, and yeah, Brennan Johnson also thought we had a really good game. Scored the pretty much the last kick of the game to make it 3-0. I thought we had a really good game, taking on players as well. And I think that's something that we aren't seeing often in the big competitions. So, these sorts of cup games, if Johnson can build his confidence a bit more in terms of not just relying on the opportunities all game and sort of making his all-round game a bit more effective, then there's definitely glimpses of it. And I think that's why people get frustrated with Johnson, is because when he's at Nottingham Forest, we've seen quite often he take players on and he'd sort of be a bit of a handful. Look, I don't know if that's because in the times I did watch Nottingham Forest, they were newly promoted team, a bit more defensive, probably can afford to counter attack a bit more under Steve Cooper. I think that more likely is the case. But we definitely know he's got it in his locker, and I think that's why people get frustrated, because there's some players where you get the sense that the one that always gets used is Stefan Freund, a player with very, very limited ability, probably a bit before my time, who, by all accounts, just squeezed every last drop of the limited ability he did have out of him. And with Brennan Johnson, whether it's a confidence thing, like Tell, he went into started last season really not in good form. And, off the back of some abuse online, testament to his character, has managed to produce an 18 goal season, scoring the winner, which will always make him a Tottenham legend, regardless of what he does now for the rest of his Spurs career, the winner in Bilbao. But yeah, nice to see him being a bit more involved in the game, which is obviously expected. But yeah, other than that, I can't think of much other talking points. Luca Williams Barnett come on for a debut. The 900th player to play for Spurs, getting that 900 legacy number. We've seen Kolo Muani take 899. Um, yeah, obviously he come on with not too much of the game going, but it looks pretty solid. Pretty solid in terms of sort of the way he'd received the ball, the way he played the ball, and I think the Bergvall disallowed goal, he had a lovely little like sort of reversed ball which cut across in between their centre back and right back, and then the ball's put across for Johnson who missed. Bergvall to put it in, gets disallowed. Um, so a bit of a shame in that sense for him, but I thought he looked, you know, reasonably solid as well as a 16-year-old who's playing men's football can look really. I think it's quite easy sometimes that we, get caught up on these sort of academy videos and that sort of thing and the hype, and you see some anomalies like Lamine Yamal, who's one of the best players in the world already, and he's probably just turned 18. Um, he's a bit of an anomaly, and with young players, we need a bit more patience. But by all accounts, Luca Williams Barnett seems to be um, a bit of a jewel in the crown of the Spurs under 21s this year. Um, Tynan Thompson was on the bench as well as Janani Byfield. Bit of a shame they didn't both get on, but obviously at the time Luca Williams Barnett come on, it was only two. So nice to see academy players making a debut. It's the sort of thing that these cup games are for. And really, I don't think you could ask for much more. Kinski in goal wasn't tested too many times, but made a really, really good save, which really reminded me of Hugo Lloris when he made it. Sort of a low volley across, got down well, just to tip it onto the post. Really good save. Distribution's good, which we sort of know come to expect with Kinski. Um, but yeah, as well as a Premier League goalkeeper playing against a League One attack can play really. But I was impressed with Kinski. I thought he played quite well. Um, and then on to the next round, Newcastle away in the fourth round, up at St James's Park. I think it's probably, other than away to Liverpool or away to Arsenal, probably the worst draw we could have got in terms of our recent record against her. And Thomas Frank, I've seen the stat that he's never won at St James's Park. It's never fun going up to St James's Park since their takeover. And look, we're under a different management now. We've got the trophy narrative, we've killed that. Um, and things are changing at Tottenham, at the top, on the pitch, all around the club. Um, and I'm hoping that, the sort of Spurs which would go up to Newcastle and just take an absolute hammer in has gone. But we'll see. We will see. But yeah, I'm hoping that we can have a good cup run because I really enjoyed the League Cup. I think it's a cup which gets a lot of criticism, sort of unfairly, and I don't think that I don't think it justifies it because when it comes to Wembley, and if your team's in that cup final, it feels like the biggest game about. Um, and obviously, if you're not in that competition, it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, and no one cares about it. Ladder, ladder, ladder. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping that we can turn Newcastle over and really go on a cup run because first trophy available to any team at the start of the season. Well, first sort of relevant trophy, a really class Community Shield as one. But yeah, hopefully we can get that sorted. And then Saturday, 8 p.m., Wolves at home, bottom of the league. It all just feels really familiar, doesn't it? This is the sort of game which Tottenham would lose. Um, Wolves are a team which, sort of under the radar, have got quite a good record against us. It's very rare. I'm trying to think of the last time that we beat them both home and away in a single season. And I'm not 100% sure. Um, it's a ground that we've lost at for, I think, the last 3 years on the trot. Might even be, yeah, the last 3 years. So the last win there was in August 2021. Dele Alli's last goal for the club, a penalty. Going to be heading down tomorrow. There is a change for Tottenham protest. Um, I'm sure I'll have a gander and see what's going on down there. But yeah, hoping that we can get this win against Wolves, and that will be, another thing to build on going back to Bodo next week for a Champions League game. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Spurs advancing through to the next round of the League Cup against Doncaster. And yeah, until then, up the Spurs.